Hey there, Internet, and welcome. My name is Derek. I am the creator of Highlander Veritas, and I want to welcome you today to our very special interview with Elizabeth Gracen, star of Highlander the series, Highlander the Raven, and of course, Highlander Veritas. So without any further ado, let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy our conversation with Elizabeth Gracen. All right, so here we are with the lovely and gracious Elizabeth Gracen, who has kindly agreed to talk about her experience here with Highlander Veritas. Hey, Lizzie, how you doing?
Great. It's nice to see your face and talk to you about your project. It's terrific. I actually just finished watching the whole thing, and it's just really, I'm just still kind of wowed by the time commitment and the artistic commitment to pulling that off. I mean, that's a lot of content. It's amazing. Congratulations. That's what I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's I mean, it took all in total about 6 years. And
wow.
Yeah, I mean, any stop motion animation is a slow process. And so an hour's worth of content it just takes forever. I mean, movies that do an hour and a half have like 600 people working on them. And so, doing this basically by myself in my garage
like
took a little longer.
Doc Ock with the other hands doing things.
Oh man, that would have helped. That would have helped a lot. Yeah, I could have used that. Well, let's backtrack just a little bit, and let's talk about you and I, the first time we actually met. And do you remember where that was?
Probably a convention, right?
Yeah, it was at the infamous Lakeland convention in Florida. I don't know.
That's where we met?
That's where we first met. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was like 2016, like December, I think. I
think I was the only person who actually got paid at that convention. I don't know how, but I don't think I got paid for everything, but I just remember it was a big brouhaha, the whole thing.
Oh yeah. That guy screwed everybody. I guess maybe except you, but yeah.
I don't know how I don't think I got paid for the classes or something that I did. I mean, I think I got it up front, and that's how I got paid.
Yeah, I think Anthony and F. Braun, they both really got hit hard with that. But the fans didn't really know too much about that, so we had a pretty good time. But and of course for me it was good because, like I said, that was the first time you and I met, and that was kind of one of my goals at that con was because I was starting to think about, I literally just in August of 2016 released season 1 of Veritas.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was starting to think about what I might be doing with the second one. And I just wanted to kind of gauge when I was going to meet you and kind of gauge if you were interested. Because if you weren't going to do Amanda, I wasn't going to do it at all. There was no one that was going to substitute for you.
So you asked me shortly after we met, or did you ask me on the spot? I can't remember exactly.
I think I kind of picked your brain about it. I think I kind of said, hey, I kind of do this thing. And you were, I wanted to see how you were like, oh, that sounds interesting. Or, oh, this guy is full of shit. Or, something like that.
I remember, I kind of vaguely remember.
Yeah.
And then you showed me I saw the link, and I was like, oh, all right. I mean, you immediately see from the first season that you're not messing around, and your production value was high.
Yeah.
And also, of course, I have a soft spot for playing Amanda. So, I was glad to do it. I don't usually don't do things like that, but I just thought I would, I don't know. I just wanted to do it.
I think I probably won you over with my Tai Chi.
That's right. Well, you helped me because, doing that flying rainbow fan, for people who don't know, I learned a Tai Chi form, I guess is what it is,
mm-hmm.
in Toronto before this show started for the Raven. I think we used that pretty early on in the series from a woman named Helen Wu, who taught me the basics of some, I guess it was Kung Fu version. I learned some moves of that, but she goes, oh, you want to learn this Tai Chi form. So we worked on it. But they always wanted me to do them at the conventions, and Roberta Brown, my friend Roberta, and I used to do early on, we would do it. And it was helpful having somebody else there. It's so hard to do those classes anyway, because it's really fast. And And those forms are complicated. I mean, so
Yeah.
when you stepped on and I could tell that you knew what you were doing, and it's like, I need help, you know, and you were so helpful. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God.
See, it's funny because I was kind of worried that I was overstepping, you know, because I didn't want to take it over or overstep my bounds or any of that kind of stuff. I was like, look, if you need me help, I'm more than happy to, but I didn't want to.
I'm here. And I am, and you're a teacher as well. So, or you were a teacher, I don't know if you still are, but yeah, so it was very helpful. So it all worked out. And then within 6 months or something, I said, I'm doing this flapper press. You want help with that? And then, so we started on this venture, and
yeah, you actually mentioned Flapper Press. I think you were just about to start it, or I just started it at Lakeland when we talked. Because I remember you kind of asked me if I wanted to contribute something.
Right.
And I think it was at when we did the LA Con, and I was more formally helping you with the Tai Chi there, and we were kind of getting to know each other a little better. I think you were kind of like, hey, do you want to kind of come on board, or you know, or help out with that? And I think that's when I was like, oh, I think she'll do Veritas now. I think
so I hadn't already committed to Veritas by then?
I think you were like, well, let me see a script and you know, see how it comes about. So
I think it was before, because I remember I feel like I thought, oh, he might be good with this. But it all worked out. The rest is history.
Well, so yeah, I mean, so I think what happened was I think I sent you the scripts and you took a look at those. So let me start with that. What did you think first reading the scripts? You know, were you like, you know, did it help with your decision, or were you like, oh crap, now I've committed to this?
No. I mean, I had done some voice work with John C. Alsadak, who also writes for Flapper Press, on his suspense radio show. So I did a lot of shows for him, and I really like doing that. It's just fun to do that. Yeah. I don't know that I'm necessarily that good, but at least with his show, I got to do a variety of characters that I would never be cast to play a borscht belt comedian, you know. So I kind of had learned how to do it a little bit, and your script just looked at like very Highlander-esque, you know, so that's the only thing you look for is like, all right, does this look professional? Does he know what he's doing? And like I said, I'd already seen I think I'd seen the link. I had the link to your first season, so I knew what it was about. And just so happened that that's when we were still doing a lot of those suspense episodes at a studio in Hollywood. So I knew that I could do it for you pretty easily and inexpensively for, you know, the recording. But it was hard to do. But you know, it was hard to do without having other actors there. So that when I look at it, and now that I've seen it all, I can tell where I got more relaxed as I went along. But it was interesting to watch. I'm very critical to watch myself, so it's really hard. But but I thought it all looked great. I was really impressed.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, we only had, if I recall right, we had one. It was either over phone or Zoom, kind of direction confab about the script and what changes you might want and what, you know, how to read certain lines, you know, because
a phone call, I think.
Yeah, because the trick, because you were recording alone without any of those other actors, was there were some lines that had to be said kind of a certain way because I needed the other actor to say theirs a certain way. And so, but there wasn't a whole lot of like, it wasn't, I remember we didn't have to get too detailed, just kind of hit the high notes. But I wanted to see what you thought about that process. Did you feel like you had enough freedom to kind of do what you needed to do?
Yes, because you and I had, I think it was like at least an hour conversation. We kind of went through the whole script, and I knew I made notes as we went along. And then we didn't have a call in while I was actually recording, did we?
No.
Okay. That might have been great, but I mean, it's sort of an impossible something, you know, to pull that off, to direct remotely for audio. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you thought it worked, it worked. I mean, it was fine for me. I mean, you know, I've done Amanda for so long that it's easy to do her. I actually watched a bit of The Raven the past couple of nights, because I mean, I have to kind of look at it and go, all right, I remember this, and you know, sort of the mindset of who she is. but you got her down. I mean, the dialogue and her wiliness, I mean, it's all in there. And what's so great about the second season of Veritas, at least, are all you have 3 flashbacks in there.
Yeah.
Involved in. I have 3 wigs. It's so funny to me. When I read the script, I was like, oh, because immediately it taps into some sort of sense memory for me of flashbacks and getting to wear costumes and getting to wear wigs and doing different accents. And so it immediately locks into my memory of Highlander and why I loved doing it so much, to get to do sword fights and get to wear the beautiful costumes, especially when we were in Paris, and different hairstyles. And so I think you pulled that off, and it's fun to see it in that stop motion animation form, and to see sword fighting. You know, it's just like a alternate reality to see it in that form.
Yeah,
it's great. It's lots of
fun. That's one of the highest compliments I could take, is that if it brought back that same feeling and that same relationship with the character, then I mean, that's, like I said, that's the highest compliment I think I could get. So thank you for that. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, as far as the recording, you were sort of lucky amongst the actors, because you were, like you said, you were in a studio that you use for suspense, and you had a nice professional, you know, booth with the microphone and everything. And I thought the quality that was sent to me for the audio files was fantastic. Everybody else
recording at home or something like that,
recorded in my closet. in my bedroom closet, because it was, you know, sort of with all the clothes, was soundproof as much as possible. I think for the second season I bought a little one of those little buffers, screens, and so they were able to sort of sit outside the closet, you know, but so there was, you know, that.
The way everyone does voiceover auditions now. Everyone in Hollywood they've converted their closets into sound booths. I mean, that's
because I don't feel too bad when I've seen some of the Big Finish audios that the Doctor Who actors do, and I see the behind the scenes pictures, and it's literally them in their house closet recording. So I didn't feel too unprofessional after that. You know?
Trend, the way it's
yeah. But I was at least there to actually direct them with each line reading as we went for most of those. So, you know, that's why I was curious to see how you felt, but it sounds like it, you know, it all went down. And for me, when I edited it together, it was so satisfying that, to me, even knowing that you guys recorded separately, listening to it once I edited it together, it sounded like you were all conversing with each other right there. So, I mean, I thought it was fantastic.
I think it works.
I'm biased, but you know.
Is Anthony? But Anthony didn't record that way. He must have recorded.
Anthony recorded at his house.
He has a setup.
Yeah, he had a microphone in his bedroom, and he did most of his recordings there. And we did a lot of back and forth, because there were certain line readings I needed a certain way to match what you had already done or what I needed. And so I actually went to Rancho Andalo, his house, and did, you know, because, you know, he invites people over there, and you train and you do weapons, whips, horseback riding, guns, whatever you want. And I went there for a long weekend, and while I was there, we recorded some other lines, because I needed just a few tweaks here and there. So it's kind of working / fun.
Doing the things you have to do. Oh, that's cool.
But yeah. So
his head looks really good. Looks, you know, that's the other odd thing, is seeing yourself in that form. It's really sort of disconcerting initially, because it's like, it's very odd, you know, just to see yourself in it, sort of, I don't know. But
I remember the first.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I mean, just I didn't realize until just having just screened it, so many characters. Now, are some of those faces, some of the heads, I guess, are from season 1? Or did you have all
a few of them? Yeah, the Duncan, the Mythos, those were all from season 1. Yours, the Amanda, Anthony's, and Joe were brand new, custom ordered head sculpts that a guy named his place is called Studio Switchem, and he goes kind of by Switchem. And I sent dozens and dozens of screen caps from the episodes to get the angles, to get every angle I could find, and then settle on an expression, because I needed something sort of neutral, but not so neutral that it was blank.
Yeah.
But neutral enough that I could sort of superimpose emotion onto the the character. And so yeah, it was funny. I remember I sent you a lot of updates, you and Anthony both, and I remember yours was bald at first time you saw it. And I remember you kind of freaked out seeing yourself bald.
It looked like a lollipop with eyes. No, it's
well,
cool.
I needed the bald ones because I was going to put the wigs on.
The wigs, yeah.
And then
people.
The wigs. Oh my God, you don't know. Trying to find the right type of wigs, the size, the color, because I went through the Raven and figured out a timeline of Amanda, and there was she's redhead from this period to this period. And so I needed to figure out, would she be redhead here? Would she be black haired here? Would she be short haired, long haired? And so we worked out all of that. And so I had to find wigs that would be appropriate for all of those different time periods and stuff. And so
I will tell you that it's very strange to see me making out with Ramirez. I think that's hysterical. It's hysterical. Because I think it's weird. So it's such a horror.
If you think it's weird watching that, try animating that. I spent days making you guys make out, and
what am I doing?
There is a moment where you stop and you go, okay, I'm a 40-year-old man.
I'm an adult man.
Animating these people making out for days on end. And I would tell my wife, I'd tell Ann, and just like, yeah, so it's another day of them making out. So, and there was so much. I didn't, you write the script and you think, okay, they're kissing here and there and you're doing that stuff. But when you actually start animating it,
like,
it's so crazy. And then because I made you record kissy sounds. If you remember, so you alone had to go. Yeah. And then I had to have Anthony, because he was playing Ramirez, had to have him do the same thing. And then I had to match up your kissy sounds in the sound file. Then I had to animate So yeah, it was a little nuts. It was a little crazy. That was a weird thing.
It's a weird part of my life.
That's a weird part of my life. That's something I can say I did at one point in my life. So
yeah, check. That's done now. Don't have to do that. My question is, are you going to do a third season? I know it's
as of right now, I don't think so. I don't think so. And it's because, it all kind of depended on how the reaction was to this one. It took so long. It cost so much in terms of time, money, skill, all kinds of things. And then, there's, you're doing this also part-time because you're working a full-time job.
Yeah.
So it's tough to do. These aren't easy. And it all depended, if I got a huge, massive response and people were just clamoring for it and saying, yes, I want more of this, I would probably be willing to do it. But the response was, from the people who saw it, was great. Everyone who actually took the time and saw it and engaged with it and watched it all the way through had nothing but positive things to say, and that really makes it worth it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there were enough of those people to kind of make it worth the effort.
It would be hard.
That being said, I do have ideas of where to go next. So, I never say never, but at the moment, I don't think I'll do any more, at least not in that scale, in that big, huge hour-long kind of scale. Yeah. So you talk about Amanda and, your relationship with her. How did you feel now seeing the whole thing? Did you feel it serviced Amanda? Was there anything that you thought was maybe missing, or did you like some aspects of it? What did you think about that?
I think you got it. You nailed it you nailed her, and the way it ends in the bar, that's very. It felt very organic to that universe, Highlander universe, and no, I mean, what was terrific was to see through time. You know,
Mm,
see that's what's always to me interesting about her character, because I mean, you would think over time, by the end of the Raven, she's matured a little bit, but
yeah.
she has an immaturity level that's, well, her backstory, of course, is, because of all of that, she's a survivor and doesn't trust anyone except McLeod, really. So, and I think you got her down. I mean, it felt like it felt right. Everything I said and did, and her that the questions you pose at the end between Christoph and the whole thing. I felt like it was truly a Highlander story. So that's always good. That's great.
Oh,
Terrific.
great. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I'm
You
just
know,
setting things up so you can say thank you. Thank you.
well, I'm not going to stop you from giving me compliments. I mean, if that's what you want to do, I'm more than happy to take it.
Okay, I'll keep doing that.
Keep feeding my ego. I need it.
Yes. Well, 6 years, yes. You need to
Yeah.
take it
Yeah.
all, gobble it up.
Let's talk about favorite parts. Did you have any standout parts that you thought were particularly enjoyable?
I like the sword fighting. I thought it
Yeah.
was, I thought, how's he going to pull that off?
Yeah.
And then I just realized the difficulty of doing how you would stage it and then pull that off. You even have like, the head motions as they're
Mhm.
making eye contact. And I just really, I mean, I just felt I was smiling as I was watching it, because I don't know. I saw the difficulty of the actual technique of how to do it, but I don't know. It was fun. It was just fun to see that part. I really,
Uh,
really liked it.
that was challenging but fun to do. And I'll have a video, kind of a little behind the scenes time lapse of me coordinating some of those sword
Oh,
fights,
that's great.
animating some of those. I'll put out in a little bit, but yeah, I had to choreograph it. So I had to act out both sides of the fight and what I wanted it to do. And there were some of them needed to end on certain cues and certain moves, and some of them were a little more open-ended. But yeah, I had to choreograph it all, then videotape myself doing the motions, then storyboard each one, and then animate it, and then cut it together, and then add, every ting ting, I had you record grunts and and then I had to put all of those in for each move, both for you and for Anthony's side. So yeah, it was a
How long did
challenge.
that section take you to do the
That
this?
was about 2 months. Just that. Yeah, just that.
And when you, so from the idea, choreographing it, storyboarding it, um, actually doing it, animating it, and then adding, do you do all of that at once, or did you just do part of it and then add the other stuff later?
I would usually do it in sections. So each fight I would break down, and this is probably kind of how you did it on the Raven and on Highlander to film it there, is you kind of break into segments.
Uh-huh.
So, you'll go from A, to G, maybe 5, 7 moves back and forth. And then you'll cut and film, another section of the fight, and then another and another. This one had, I think, 3 large sections, and then I broke down each one of those into smaller sections. And then I would I do all of one section, make sure it was good and make sure I had what I needed, and then I would do another whole section, and then
with audio as well, all the everything.
Luckily, I had all of your audio, yours and Anthony's, kind of ready to go. And
so you slot it in to see if it works, and then you move on.
Yeah. There were a few, like, you gave me a nice variety of Anthony had like maybe about maybe 4 or 5, which were good, which were all good, but trying to mix and match so that you didn't have them back to back, because when you animate, you go it sounds weird. You have to go or something like that, for it to sound natural. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Same with the ting tings of the swords. you can't have ting, 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 or it sounds weird. That's ting, 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 So yeah, it's a challenge.
So are you learning all of this on the fly as you're doing it? I know you did the first season, but I mean, did you learn as you were going then?
In a sense, I did a sword fight, a very small one in the first season between Duncan and the Kurgan, but that was comparatively pretty simplistic. It was very just ting, ting, ting. I knew this one had to be better because they're basically two masters. Amanda had been around at that point for like 1,000 years, and so she had to look like she knew what she was doing. And then, of course, Consone was a master who was becoming an even better master under Ramirez. And so it couldn't just be them kind of going, again. It had to be detailed and intricate and have moves that demonstrated their skill levels and tell the story, because Amanda's a little drunk and she's having a little fun, and Consone is a little upset and trying to show off. And so you had to express that in the actual fight, in the moves.
Right.
So I couldn't just choreograph any old moves. It had to tell that story as it went. And so that was a little bit tricky. That was probably the hardest part. Animating that was no real different than any of the other animation, because you take a picture, you move it, you take a picture, you move it. It was just keeping it all in my head, which moves, because you have, to swing here, you have to animate all that, and getting the speed of it is tricky, because if you do it too slow, they're swinging like this. If you do it too fast, they do like this and you can't see it. So finding the balance of the right number of frames so that the audience can see the motion, is a little bit tricky. But I thought it came out pretty well. And Anthony gave me one of the best compliments I've ever gotten, which was, it was better than some of the live action stuff he's seen. And so that, I was like, okay, if I got the approval of the sword master himself, then I'm good.
That's great. Well, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. That's my favorite.
So I guess we'll go ahead and kind of wrap up. But is there anything else about your experience on Veritas that you want to say or talk about? Or
well, it's a totally unique experience for me to do something like that and to see the final product after so long. I mean, I couldn't even remember the story, so I was watching it. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I remember that now. But just to see, I mean, once again, and I'm not blowing smoke, I'm serious. It's just like your hard work paid off. It looks really good. I'm glad I'm a part of it. And anytime Amanda's there, I'll do Amanda for you. I just, I think it's a great piece of art that you've created, and I just glad I was part of it. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that. And on that note, and before I let you go, I have a little gift that I'm going to somehow get to you.
Okay.
And so
No.
A little.
What the hell? Oh, and a flapper. Oh my God.
It's a flapper Amanda.
So cool. That's amazing, Derek. Oh, I can't wait. That is amazing. Is that like another head that you had done and then you had a thing made up?
I had several of the Amanda heads done, because I needed several for the shoot. And so I had an extra one made because I knew I was gonna somehow make a special version. And of course, I know your love of Flapper because I work with you on Flapper Press. And so I actually found a Barbie doll with the Flapper outfit. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a Flapper Amanda there. And so you can now have yourself, whether you want to consider it an Elizabeth Flapper or an Amanda Flapper, it's totally up to you.
Thank you. So I'll put it, my bookshelf, my mom just sent me all of my Miss America trophies and all that stuff. So I'll put it up there. So
there you go.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. That's a true.
It's the least I can do.
Oh gosh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yay.
So thank you again for joining me and talking about your experience on Highlander Veritas. I'm really, really happy that you agreed all those years ago to give this funny project a chance, and I don't think it would have been anywhere near as successful without you. I'm glad you're happy with it. I'm very happy with it, and I hope that everyone who watches it is equally happy with it. So thank you again. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and
My pleasure.
I can't thank you enough.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mwah.